Hey everyone, this is just going to be a quick overview of the changes to ReadWriteSaveFile as they currently are. I will be doing a redo of the original Learn Read Write Save File in 10 minutes video at a later point, and that'll probably be scripted and a little more concise. But this is just a quick unscripted overview of the new changes. And just before I begin going over them, I do want to give a quick shout out to Alpines. The idea for this was mine, and I was the one who started implementing it, but the help and the hours he's put into going through debugging it, sections that he's just basically it's just his code. A lot of large sections of it are just his code, and just the sheer amount of time he's put into helping me, teaching me how to use AngelScript and CodeInit and the little bugs that he catches and all that. Basically, this functionality would not be in Drinker's Hotspot without Alpine, so huge thanks to him for that. Now let's quickly go over the changes that I've done to ReadWriteSaveFile and some of the functions around it. So both read and write now have this condition slider, and this is probably one of the biggest changes. The slider goes up to 10. You can actually override it if you hit Control and then type in your own number. You can go up to 25. Just for memory-based reasons, to make your level files not incredibly massive, I don't allow it past 25, but that should be more than enough conditions for anyone. But another thing that you'll notice is different now is that there's this little drop-down box here. And so this allows you to do a whole bunch of things you couldn't before. Set to is kind of how it originally worked. So how write worked before is, let's say we have something called test, and we can set it to hello. And then how it would work before is then if you wanted a new thing, you'd just duplicate that, open it up. So let's say we got test 2 now, and we'll set that to goodbye. All right? And then you just keep going on like that. But now, because the conditions, you can just put them all in one, as many as you want. So I can have test 2, goodbye, and that's just all set in one function. Do keep in mind that if you decide you want one function, one condition again, and then you decide, oh, I want 2 again, it's not saved. You will have to type in it again. That's just a limitation of how it was coded. So we're going to set test 2 to goodbye, but I will quickly go over some of the other stuff you can do. You can reference a variable. So just for simplicity's sake, I'm calling this data type a variable, just because that's the term I'm familiar with, and you'll very quickly, if you're not familiar with the word already, you'll very quickly get familiar with it when using this function. So you can reference it. So for example, if I chose, I want to set test2 to test, like that, then test2 is going to become hello, because test is equal to hello. So I can reference the value of another variable. And then you can also do add, subtract, divide, and multiply, and then add variable, subtract variable, divide by variable, multiply by variable. The variable ones just do the same operation, but instead of adding the value you directly type in, they add the value of the variable you type in. And I will quickly point out the add one here. Add will work differently depending on whether you have a number or a string, or text. So for example, if test2 was equal to 0 and you chose to add 1 to it, then it's now going to be equal to 1, or however much you add to it. But if test2 was equal to goodbye, like we've said it before, then when you add 1 to it, it's just going to add it to the end of the string instead of trying to do math on text, because that doesn't work. And so then test2 would equal goodbye 1. And if you added 1 again, it'd be goodbye 1, 1, and so on and so on. And if test2 is already equal to 0 and you try to add letters, such as goodbye, then now it's going to be 0, goodbye. And you add goodbye again, it'll be 0, goodbye, goodbye, and so on and so on. And the rest of them, subtract, divide, multiply, that they all just only work on numbers. And in fact, if you click on this, you'll find you can only enter a number. With read, that's also been changed, so you have a lot more options now. So before you could only check if it was equal or not equal, something along those lines. But now you can check a whole bunch of things. You can check if it's equal or not equal right here, if it's greater than, and that will only work with numbers. If it's less than, also only work with numbers. And then matches a variable. So if I were to say if test, so right now let's say that test is equal to goodbye. Sorry, test2 is equal to goodbye. And I want to see if test matches test2. So if I had originally set test to hello, and then I want to see if it matches test2, it's going to read the value of test2, which is goodbye, and it's going to say, no, it doesn't match. But if test2 were equal to hello, it would say, oh yes, both of them match. So matches, does not match, greater than, less than. Obviously these ones just work with numbers, whereas equal and not equal and match and does not match will work with both strings and numbers. So yeah, you can do a whole bunch more checks on this sort of stuff now, and you can add numbers, subtract numbers. You have a lot more power over the values now. There's a few other features here. You may have noticed this option right here, debug set value, and this is just a quick way if you want to have something already set so you can test it later. Then this will just directly set it. So right now, in order to set test and test, let me set this back to goodbye or whatever. If I want to set test to goodbye and test2 to hello, I have to exit, and then it's going to run, and now that's written that to the cache. But let's say that I'm in the middle of testing and I just want to set them immediately. Well, then as soon as I type this in, then test is now directly equal to hello. And the other thing you might want to do when you're debugging this or testing this is know what the current values are. So if I hit the check mark here, and this is available here and it's also available in read, this just displays the values of everything in this top box here for each condition. So I believe I already have a variable called test1. So if I type that in, it's reading what test1 is currently set to, which is player. Test2 is hello. I think we had when testing here, I think myvar is a test. Yeah, it's just a huge long string. So it's going to just dynamically get the value of that immediately. And I think that's about it for ReadWriteSaveFile. But I've also added a couple of functions to show these values. So they both work similarly. Display text and user interface allow you to display variables now. And so remember we had test equals hello. There's a description of how to use this at the bottom, but real quick I could just demonstrate here. Let's make this a little bit bigger so it shows up easier. So if we just do testing, that's showing up as text. But if I put this bracket symbol in here, and then I write something like this, and then I put another bracket symbol, then instead of returning what's written here, it's actually going to return the value of test as a variable. Now, and this will work, like if you do this, for example, then you're still going to see that other bracket that's passed there, or if you had one in front here, you're still going to see this bracket, but it's going to take just this bit right here, and it's going to replace it. Now, let's say you actually want to enclose something within brackets for some reason, and you want this to actually read testing bracket test. Don't worry, you can do that as well. Just hit the backslash, I can't talk today, hit the backslash button, and now it'll actually just show it as test. So just hit that right in front of it like that. And the same functionality will work with user interface as well. So I'm just going to open that up, and we'll decide to display some text. We'll say testing equals, and then test, and immediately that says hello. And just to demonstrate here, remember I showed you this debug function could directly set the value of something? Let's change what test is right now, and we'll say that test is equal to goodbye. As soon as I hit that, it immediately changes there. It updates. And I can also demonstrate it changing by, let's set test to a number. Let's set it to 0. And then we're going to loop through something here real quick. Let's get rid of that. And we're going to loop through, and we're going to repeatedly set test to add 1. So remember, test is 0 right now, and we're going to add 1 to it. And then we're just going to go back to line 1. And what you should see is that it's going to very quickly just start going up and up and up, just like this. So there you go. You can do a lot more with numbers now, and you can display those numbers in a cool way that's just integrated right into the existing functions of display text and user interface. So like I said, I will be doing a more in-depth video on this with some examples, and that'll be replacing the current video I have for learning ReadWriteSaveFile at some point in the future. This is just a quick update for people who already use ReadWriteSaveFile and just want to know what the changes are and the new stuff they can do with it now. So I'm hoping that this will be used to create lots of cool new gameplay features and ideas. And yeah, I just can't wait to see what everybody does with it. Until next time, see you in the next video.